So, this is the second time I've started this video because I realized that my audio was not recording. Good job, Julian. So professional. Anyway, today we are here to talk about something which I have been asked about on my various channels, platforms, whatever. Some of you may know that I have been doing little shorts either here or on Instagram, chronicling my journey through both having one of my books in the beta process and through drafting a new book. And one of the things that I talked about with the book that is going through the beta process is bad faith critique, bad faith beta reading. And like, how do you tell if someone does not have your best interests at heart when they are critiquing you? If somebody is just trying to tear you down for whatever reason, trying to make you think less of yourself, not actually there to help you make your book the best. How do you tell? Because critiques that sometimes might make you feel some type of way are not necessarily bad faith critiques. You're going to get critiques that maybe hurt your feelings. You're going to get critiques that frustrate you. You're going to get critiques that ask you to change something that you're really attached to, but maybe in your heart of heart you know that you're probably going to have to change it, and that's going to hurt. So that's normal, but how do you know when you've got somebody who is just critiquing to make you feel bad? Because probably if you're a writer, you're going to experience those people. I've experienced those people. Probably a lot of you watching have experienced those people. How do you tell? How do you tell the difference? Like, how do you tell when maybe you're just being sensitive? Because we're sensitive. We're artists. We're sensitive, all right? It's okay to say. Sometimes critiques hurt my feelings, and I just understand that it's because I love my book, and my feelings are attached to it, all right? But how do you tell when somebody's just being mean to be mean? I know that there's probably going to be people in the comments who are not happy with this video, or at least that leave me thumbs downs, because I have noticed that there's a small subset of people who hate it if you imply that you would ever not take all of their critiques into account. But I have bad news for those people. No writer you critique ever is going to take all of your critiques. It's impossible to do that. And as you might know, I am a developmental editor. I don't know how you would know. I only mention it every single video. But I'm a developmental editor, and when I leave my extremely thorough, lengthy notes for my clients, when I have handed that over to them, those notes are now their notes. Those notes are no longer mine. Those notes are no longer attached to me. That person gets to make the decision of whether they take the notes, throw away the notes, light the entire thing on fire and dance around it laughing. None of my business. It's none of my business. I gave them the notes. They can do with them what they want. And I know that bothers some people to know that I might look at your note and be like, I'm not doing that. But that's just what being an author is. Looking through all of the notes and deciding what's best for your book. But all right, let's bring it back around. You're writing a book, you found some people to critique it. How do you tell if they are not actually trying to help you? Here's some ways, and this is not a definitive list, and they will probably not be doing all of these things at the same time, but these are some ways that you can tell that they might not have your book's best interests at heart. So the first one is that they never or seldom ask any questions. What I love to do when I leave notes is ask questions. And then it's up to the author whether that question is answered later in the book, or if they want to answer it because it's not answered later in the book, or if it's answered soon enough and maybe they'd like to answer it sooner, or if that question is not important and they don't want to answer it at all. All up to the author's choice. But people who are critiquing in bad faith probably won't ask you any questions because they're just there to tell you things. They're there to bestow upon you their mighty wisdom for your poor tiny author brain. And so they don't really care about your world or your characters, and so they don't ask any questions. Another way you might be able to tell is if their notes are aggressive in tone or they make demands, such as, you must change this. You are doing this wrong. What the fuck is this? Anything that sounds too aggressive or demanding is probably not critiquing in good faith. Now, I might be silly with someone I know who can take it, who I might go, what the fuck is this, in a joking way, but watch out for any reader that has a constant, aggressive, and demanding tone. Another way to tell, and you think this would be one of the obvious ones, but I have seen so many authors talking about on Twitter and threads how they didn't know better and they let someone speak to them like this. But if they leave rude comments like, "You're a bad writer. You're terrible at this. You should give up. This sucks." Don't listen to them. Like, they are not giving you anything helpful. They're just trying to bring you down and make you feel awful. If the person who's critiquing for you ever tells you that you're just a terrible writer, and especially if they ever tell you you should just give up, dump them so fast. I'm not kidding. They are not there to help you. The next thing that they might do is badmouth your characters. I hate this character. No one's going to like this character. This character makes me want to stop reading and nobody's ever gonna like them. Here's the thing. Unlikable characters are real. Unlikable characters often work well in books if done correctly. And if I'm critiquing for someone and I identify that they are intentionally writing an unlikable main character, then I'm going to try my best to help them create the character that they want. So, okay, this character's unlikable. Well, let's find ways to make them interesting, even if they're unlikable. Or if you sense that the author's not trying to make an unlikable character, instead of going, "I hate this character, nobody's gonna like this character," the person who's critiquing should say, "This character's really not for me and these are the reasons." That kind of vibe, instead of just, "This character is awful and you should change them." We come back around to those demands again a little bit there. We talked about this a little bit before, but anybody who tells you that you should throw this book away or stop writing, don't listen to those people. Those are garbage people. Now, somebody might be able to kindly tell you that your book isn't ready or it isn't working right now, or maybe it's time to set this one aside and work on a different one, and maybe you can come back to it later and decide it needs a rewrite. But this should be done gently and with kindness. If somebody is just telling you to your face, "This book is awful and I think you should scrap it," probably don't listen to them. There have been times when I've had to set a book aside after I got critique because I was able, through other people's help, to see how much it wasn't working. But none of those people were like, "Don't publish this. Trash this book. Throw it away. Give up on it." They gently were telling me what wasn't working, and then I could make the decision to keep it or scrap it. The next thing they might do is mistake disliking a trope for bad writing. This is something that can befall a lot of people who are critiquing your book, so it might not necessarily be someone critiquing in bad faith that this happens to, but if it's happening a lot, it might be a sign that they're not critiquing in good faith. So they encounter a trope that is not to their taste. Like, I don't know, I'm gonna pluck one from the air. Friends to lovers. That's a trope that I don't particularly like. But if they're reading your book that has friends to lovers, someone who's good at critiquing will identify, this book is friends to lovers. And I don't particularly like that trope. And they will often just tell the author, "Hey, this is not one of my favorite tropes, so I'm gonna do my best not to be too aggressive or hate on this trope because this is the trope that you wanted to use in your book." Just know going in that it's not one of my favorite tropes. And that person who's critiquing may be able to point out ways that that trope isn't working that other people might not be able to notice. However, if you encounter somebody who just clearly doesn't like the trope and has mistaken that for you being bad because you included it, that person is reading in bad faith. And my final note to tell if you have someone critiquing in bad faith, and this is a big one, is that they are trying to turn your book into theirs. I have had some people read for me who it became clear that they did not like the book that I had written, and they were trying to make me change it into, they wanted to make me change the plot into the plot that they thought I should have written. They were trying to make me change the characters into the ones they thought I should have written. If you are ever reading critique from someone and you find yourself feeling like they read a different book, like they are fighting you tooth and nail to get you to turn your story not into a better version of itself, but into something completely different, they are probably not reading in good faith. Now, I don't want to call anybody out, but I do want to give an example. I had a beta reader who was not reading in good faith for the first Adventurer Mage book. I let them go all the way through it. I didn't discourage them or tell them to leave, but whenever I read their notes, I went in knowing that those notes were probably not going to be the most helpful. One of the biggest things that they did was constantly trying to change my book into their book, into what they thought the book should be instead of what it was. And anytime I deviated, my plot deviated from where they would have taken it, they were like, no, this is wrong. You should change it to this. You should have them do this. These characters shouldn't be this way. This reader didn't like that Maeve and Valentine are technically doing like illegal things, especially Valentine in the first book. By the letter of the law of their world, Valentine is kind of a gray character. Not necessarily morally, but lawfully. Lawfully gray. He has a dim view of some laws. And this reader didn't like that. And so they thought that I should change it. That my villains were actually the good guys because they were within the letter of the law, and my main characters were actually the bad guys because they were outside of the letter of the law. And they felt like I had made bad characters because of this. And that's just one example of ways that they felt like I had written the book wrong. No, I had very intentionally, that wasn't a mistake. I had very intentionally, because of the themes that I bring up in a lot of my books, made Maeve and Valentine, especially Valentine, outside of the letter of the law. A person critiquing you in good faith, and if they're good at critiquing, they will see what you're trying to do and help you achieve your goal with your book. Not decide that you have written your book incorrectly and you should change it to be the way that they want it to go. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm sure that there are still going to be people in the comments below who disagree with me and think that I'm looking for excuses not to take critique. But if you think that I'm a delicate flower who just doesn't like taking critique, I don't know what to tell you, fam. You can talk to my beta readers. Like I said, I didn't even ask that bad faith reader to leave. I still read all of their notes just in case there was anything there that I wanted to use. And you, as a writer, will encounter people like that. However, of course, that doesn't mean that harsh notes or notes that are hard to hear are bad faith notes. But hopefully, I have left you with some thoughts about how to tell if somebody's reading in bad faith. If you have experienced bad faith readers and people who critique you in bad faith, please comment below and let us know more ways that you have learned to suss them out and tell when that's happening. Being able to discern that is an important part of being a writer. All kinds of fun challenges out here for us, aren't there? However, if you are looking for someone to critique your book and you think I might be a good fit, because I will always try my hardest to critique in good faith and help you turn your vision into a better version of your vision, then you can find me on Fiverr. If you don't know if we'd be a good fit, because not every editor is a good fit for every author, your first 5K words are only $25, so you can try it out for very little and see if I would be a good fit for you, and then we can form a mighty partnership. If you would like to help support this channel, you can do so over on Patreon, where you can also see exclusive videos and not seen here on the regular channel, or I have a Ko-fi if you're into that one-time donation thing. And of course, you can purchase my books if you want me to put my money where my mouth is. Check out my books. So many wonderful people have critiqued those books for me in good faith and helped me make them even better. But thank you all for watching today, and I will see all of you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
A stranger from the outside.
Greetings.
It's me, Julian Greystoke, and you are my beloved patrons, and you may hear the noises of ferrets in the background as I read all of your names. We have Haley History Nerd, Tactical Hot Dog, Stephanie, Pixelizzy, Rhea, Christina, Cameron, Lady Kragan, Jose, Lunar Muse, AJ, Marshy, Semi-Dark, GK, Scout, Kay, Annika, Jen, Gay Tutter, Constantina, Laknunga, SB Boots, Martha Baggins, July, Bird Anonymous, Sarah, Kat. Boy, the ferrets are just having an amazing time right now. 78 kilograms of shade, Veda, Roma, Pansing Pony, Haley, Sam, Kira, Kohikaru, Mooney, Pudamancer, Kirsten, Bear, Jojo Bookish, Robin, Ursula, Caitlin, Jessica, KJ, LaFone, Mufflier, Celia, Alyssa, Deborah, Afra, Swamp Goblin Waifu, Sophia, Marween, Kit, Hidden Glade, Light Julie, Belle, Patrick, and Sophie, Callison, Shelby, Zaire, Jesper, Rennie, Scribbling Cat, Savvy, Jenny, Amanda, Lisa, and Sarah. Thanks so much for being my patrons, both those of you who have been around for ages and those of you who are brand new. Love you all. In like a parasocial way. I don't actually like love you because that'd be a little weird. But love you in the way that I love that you're helping me out with my channel. So I'm gonna stop talking now.